One of the biggest obstacles that we experience when it comes to the bedroom is that overactive mind, not being able to step into our bodies and pay attention to those sensations that are going on and really experience the depth of connection and the depth of pleasure happening. Whether it be thoughts from a busy day, a to-do list, or maybe even worrying about what your body looks like or how you're performing for your partner, leading us into this space of disconnect where we are supposed to be connecting to ourselves as well as connecting to our partner. Now, for me personally, I have struggled with this a tremendous amount in the past and still sometimes do. However, there are 4 different steps that help me step back into my pleasure. Because when we're living in our mind, we tend to fall into this performative place. And that can feel like you're starring in a really bad porno. So whether you feel like it's performance anxiety, body image issues, the overwhelming amount of stress that is in our lives, or maybe just not understanding how you like to receive pleasure, this video is for you because I'm going to share the tips that help me change everything. And I also included my favorite tool, which will be at the end of the video. So you're going to have to stay tuned to catch that. When it comes to being a sex educator on these platforms, a censorship is a very real thing, making it extremely hard for us to actually monetize our content. So they lead us down a path where we have to figure out a way to monetize ourselves. So for me, I launched my very own merch, which is the Moody merch. So right now I only have one product, which is the oversized after sex hoodie. So if you like my content, purchase a hoodie, maybe for yourself, maybe for a partner, or perhaps even for a friend. All right, now let's get back into how to step right back into your body when you're stuck in your mind. Let's talk about our first tip, which is communication. Now, I know I preach communication, however, it will make your sex life and your relationship so much easier, even if you have to have those tough conversations. Because what happens when we suppress them is they just bubble up and then we either explode or we build resentment. And that is no place where intimacy can be built. And that is not a great foundation. Because when we have communication, we have good trust. When it comes to intimacy, we like to have communication before, during, and after sex. So in this case, having that conversation with your partner beforehand, letting them know that you're having problems dropping into your pleasure, meaning it's hard for you to get aroused, it's hard for you to relax. And that might not be something that's happening all the time. Maybe it was just a stressful day. Then you can also opt out of having sex, or you can choose to communicate over why you don't feel like having it or what they can do to help you relax. Now, sometimes when we're stuck in our mind, it's because our partner isn't necessarily doing what turns us on or what feels good to us. So this is a really good time to tell them beforehand what feels good for you, what turns you on, what you love about what they do to you. Now, the communication that carries on throughout is more like checking in. Does that feel good? Do you like it when I do that? Where do you want me to touch you? Do you want to synchronize our breathing? And the after is that aftercare, checking in on your partner, making sure that they feel seen, held, and that they're taken care of. And you guys both want to be taking care of each other. When we have strong communication, that helps build that trust foundation. It helps deepen our connection with one another. And it allows our partner to assist us for what we might be going through. I know these conversations feel like they are really hard to have. And it is because they are hard, because you're expressing vulnerability completely to your partner, especially when it revolves around the bedroom. But I promise you, the more that you talk about your sex life outside of the bedroom, the better your sex will be. The second tip I have for you is to actually focus on the pleasure instead of the orgasm. A lot of the time we get caught up in the goal of climax. But the more you focus on that climax, the further and further away you push that pleasure, those sensations, and that orgasm. So when we feel like there's pressure to have that orgasm or we're putting that pressure on ourselves, I want you to bring it back to those sensations that are going on in your body. For instance, let's say that we are receiving oral. How does the warm breath feel on you? The texture of their tongue, the way that their hands feel when they caress your body, the sensation that their lips bring, whether it be sucking or kissing. Map out that pleasure. What feels good? What brings tingles to your body? Draw it back to the way that they are pleasing you. Sometimes it's okay to take a step back and solely focus on yourself, especially when you're drifting so far away that you're living in your mind and you're no longer in your body. So bring awareness to those sensations that are coming. Now, the third tip that I have for you might take a little bit longer to unfold and unwind. However, it is so worth it because it will help you in the bedroom and it will help you in your everyday life as well. And that is to fall in love with yourself. Now, I know it can feel hard because we ask ourselves, if I don't love myself, how can somebody else love me? Or if I don't like my body, how can somebody else like my body? But that's where the beauty and the magic happens, where we learn to love our body for what we are and what we look like right now. Now, for me personally, I have done this in therapy. I've done somatic therapy, and I have also done sex therapy on myself as well, and with other sex therapists. So there is always other people for you to lean on that will help support you on this journey, because there might be more there than you would like to think or believe. One of the things that helped me step more into my sex and my pleasure was learning how to seduce myself, learning how to pleasure myself. A lot of solo play to figure out those pleasure spots and what actually turned me on. Any type of orgasm I have ever had has usually been the first time provided by myself, because now I know how to map it out on how to get me there, so I can teach my partner on how to give me pleasure. But with the art of seducing yourself, one of the things that really helped me out too was dressing in lingerie, getting dolled up, making myself feel beautiful and myself feeling sexy. Use that mirror to your advantage. The way we talk to ourselves is really important. That negative self-talk that we do has got to stop. Would I talk to my lover this way? Would I talk to my best friend this way? If you say no, then why are you talking to yourself that way? So learning how to please yourself, learning how to seduce yourself. And also, a lot of us do struggle with genital shame, especially when it comes to having a vulva. So I encourage you to take that mirror out and learn to love the yoni that you have. Look at the colors, look at the fold, look at the way your vulva blossoms as it gets aroused. It literally fills with blood, becomes engorged, and blossoms like a flower. It is absolutely wild. But the more that we look at ourselves, and especially our genitals, the more that we become secure in what we have. Do whatever makes you feel sexy. Turn yourself on and notice everything that you love about your body. We need to learn how to feel beautiful in our own skin without the help of anyone else. The more that we fall in love with our body, the more we will enjoy being in it, especially when it comes to sex. Now, before I dive into my favorite tool of all, I want to tell you guys about another tool that I use, and it's actually creating a wind down ritual. This is what I do on my most stressful, anxious, wound up days, especially when my ADHD or anxiety is driving me crazy. I'll usually draw myself a bath or take a shower, cleanse myself through that water, light some white candles, put on some sexy music, take everything that I'm worrying about right now and dump it on a notepad so I can look at it later. But taking everything that's in my brain and doing a brain dump. I put my phone on do not disturb, spray some perfume to make me smell good, and then I do my last step, my last tool, that being the power of breath. Over the past couple years becoming a somatic sex therapy coach, I learned about the power of breath and how it can re-regulate your nervous system. Just want you to focus on your breath when your mind starts drifting away and you start detaching from your body. It's simple, but it is truly effective. Our breath is extremely powerful and it sends important messages to our body. It dictates whether we sit in a parasympathetic state, which is a rest or digest state, or our sympathetic state, which is our fight or flight. Now, when we're living in this crazy mind or we're feeling anxious, we usually have gravitated into that sympathetic nervous state. So you want to shift that focus back to our body. So anytime I find myself drifting away or slowly starting to feel anxious, I notice the thought and then I bring it back to my body. So I take a deep inhale and then I exhale. And sometimes it feels really great to make sound. Don't hold back. If you need to let out that sigh, do so. That's your body's way of helping you regulate, moving you from that sympathetic back to that parasympathetic, which is gonna help you relax and de-stress. Now, I'm not saying this is gonna be fixed with just one breath. I usually like to run a few until I can bring it back to a place where I can now focus on the sensations that are happening. Don't feel scared, don't feel nervous to take those deep belly breaths breaths during sex. That is exactly how you are going to strengthen your pleasure. That is exactly how you're going to strengthen those sensations, by breathing. And we breathe all day long, but the truth is a lot of us breathe really shallow, and we don't actually take those big conscious deep breaths where we're expanding our ribs and bringing that breath all the way down to the bottom portion of our lungs. So take some conscious breaths. Let's bring ourselves back into our body and push the mind away, because here right now we are here for connection. We are here to deepen the intimacy, and we are here for presence. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. Now, if you guys have any questions about any of this work or are interested in coaching from myself, please DM me on my Instagram, or if you feel comfortable, you can drop your comments down in the section below. Don't forget to grab a Moody hoodie to support me and my journey, and I will see you babies next week for another video. Cheers.